Oh, for the love. Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it? You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved.
From the middle after dark over here.
Hey, boys and girls, happy Wednesday. It's your friends, Corey, Kendall, and Dylan from the Middle podcast. We are three middle-class guys in the middle of America, in the middle chapters of our lives, with a point of view that's somewhere in the middle, a conversational and relaxed podcast for your ear holes, talking about all manner of things, ranging from geek culture to dad stuff to what's going on in our lives in this crazy, crazy world we live in. And it is good to be with my friends again. I was out last week, and Kendall and Dylan did a great job talking with Jeff Piles, our guest from Artiest Man. And in fact, I placed another Artiest Man order today, and I'm super excited about it. But anyway, that's in the past. We're moving forward. Super excited about what we're going to talk about tonight. We got a whole range of things to discuss with you folks, and super excited. Kendall, say hello. Dylan, say hello. How you guys doing?
Doing okay. Doing all right.
Good.
All right. It's today, doing all right.
Cool.
I'm trying to match your energy.
You're doing a great job, Dylan.
Hi.
Oh.
So good to be here.
No, you guys really did. That was a great episode with Jeff. I learned a lot, and you guys crushed it. Sorry I couldn't be here.
You know what I learned?
A lot of fun.
I learned that you could save money today by using code
The
middle at artiestman.com.
Can I tell you
all of their stuff.
Can I tell you what I got?
What'd you get?
I got the barbershop scented candle. I got the small to medium toothed wooden beard comb.
Okay.
And I got my favorite scent of the beard oil is Restoration. So I got the Restoration beard oil. And there was a special promo to use to get some new scents, but you're not going to use that one, folks. You're going to use promo code The Middle to save 25. Was that 25%?
25%.
Off your first order. So
Yeah.
Thanks again, Jeff. Sorry I couldn't hang out with you, but yeah, that was a great episode. Thanks for joining us. What else is new, guys?
Very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Very
You're going to have to let us know how you like that stuff, because I've been browsing the website. Not sure what I'm going to get yet. Don't have a beard. Probably won't be oil, but they've got lots of good stuff. So
Got candles. They've got hats.
Candles,
They've got
notes.
shampoos and conditioners.
Yeah, body wash and
soaps.
shampoo.
all kinds of stuff. So anyways, sorry. Yeah, what were we up to? But yeah, you're going to have to tell us what you think.
I will.
So going on in the Ayla household right now, we have a situation where we're looking at maybe getting some new furniture for the family room, and decided to go ahead and do that. And then that discussion led to, well, let's move the TV to a different wall. And so the TV that's been in the same place for the last 6-7 years, however long we've been in that house, is has been unmounted from above the fireplace, putting it on a different wall. But not just any wall. That wall had to become an accent wall. And so then we were going to paint that one wall. And then it was the other walls are white, but they're not like bright enough white. And so we're going to paint all of those. And then it was like, the trim, we've been talking about the trim for forever. And the trim is like this old, like oak trim, normal oak trim. Never liked that. So we're going to paint that white. And then, you know what? There's there's just it looks like there was a shoddy paint job at some point in time on the ceiling. So we're going to paint the ceiling. And then while we're there, like some of the same things we've been thinking about in the kitchen, which is attached. So we're going to do all of that stuff to the kitchen and painting doors now and everything. And so that's what's going on in our house. I'm in the office now, our studio, as we refer to it. And it's not because I'm trying to get away. It's legitimately, this is where I've been recording the last several episodes. But no, it's fun. It's what makes me feel bad is that like I love all of the stuff that my wife wants to do, and probably about a little less than halfway done. We started on Saturday, and I'm being generous to myself when I use the word "we." Started on Saturday, but no, it all looks great. It all looks fantastic. I love you, Amy, and everything's going to look awesome when you're done, and I'm looking forward to it. But I forget where I was going with that, other than just trying to backpedal the tone.
Well, the thing that prompted it, I mean, furniture. That's a big motivator, right?
Sure.
I wonder what the smallest motivator for a series of things like that has ever been in a home or with a married couple, right? Like, we changed this candle on the coffee table, and since we're changing what the smallest version of that would be.
Exactly. Yeah.
I feel like a candle's already so impermanent. It's got to be like coasters.
Coasters.
Like,
Bought some really cool.
They had these like green glass coasters from like grandma's house, and because a candle's gonna come and go, you burn it, you throw it away. It's not it. People don't can't have to match candles. But I bet there were coasters. It's like, oh, we got these kind of jade glass coasters. They don't match.
Yeah.
For our listeners out there, if you have a story, what was the smallest purchase or piece of home decor that inspired an entire redecoration of the room? So my recent example is a cartoonist friend of mine, Paul Combs. We'll shout him out and tag him. Paul did a cartoon strip. He's a syndicated cartoonist, and in one of the he typically does fire engineering cartoons. It's for firefighters magazine. And one of the firefighters or EMT drivers, he made that guy's badge say Hubble as like a little nod to me. And the joke is about masks and coronavirus. And the guy has a Darth Vader mask on. And the caption is this too much? And so he made it Hubble because he knows I'm a Star Wars geek. Well, he's a Trekkie. So anyway, super cool little nod. And I appreciate it, Paul. But anyway, he sent me a really nice quality print of that comic.
Nice.
And I want to get it framed. And I think that has led to me hiring a friend to do built-ins on one entire wall of my den with vault. Because if I could get the IKEA cubbies that you've seen in previous podcast videos, if I can take those out of the office and have one entire wall like of built-ins for books and tchotchkes, and then put all my framed art from fellow artists and friends on another wall. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just one buddy sending me a print, and I'm going to rearrange my whole den. That's
so funny you both led with that, because just this week, so like we use an internal messaging platform at work, and there's a miscellaneous channel, and people are putting like their home improvement things that they're doing. By the way, this stuff of course looks like incredible. Like every single, and then the one person does it and everyone else does it. And I'm just thinking about how I didn't successfully make our meal delivery meal the night before I burned the chicken. Like I burned chicken, and these people, like, there could be there were so many photos in this thread. Home and Garden could do a magazine edition just for our company. There were that many different photos of these home projects, and I'm struggling to cook chicken in a pan. I don't understand the breakdown. And so I jump in.
I decorated this pan with carbon.
Yeah. All I could accomplish. So I jump in this thread, and say like, wow, you guys are all super talented, great photos, kind of hoping that people would quit. Like, it was like, okay,
In other words, enough is enough, guys.
we're rubbing it in now. And then that just spawned way more. And then, of course, I had to chime back in like, okay, everyone who posted pictures after my compliment, just bragging now. Like, there's no, the compliment was done, but there were so many photos. It was crazy.
Can you give us a few examples of maybe some of the more impressive ones? Like, what are people doing?
Like putting, somebody had taken their, I don't know any terms for anything. So this
Right.
is
Okay.
clearly not going to go well. But like, okay, what is it when you have a board like halfway around the wall? Like it's not
a chair rail.
A chair rail.
Yeah, it's not crown molding. It's
Chair
It's a chair rail.
so somebody did that like in a bathroom, like
In a
looked
bathroom?
like yeah, it was like white with like boards going down, up and down underneath. But then they did this really cool angled thing all the way up the wall with like different colors. And I didn't think it wasn't like rainbow colors, like that many colors, but like it was subtle. It's kind of like when people used to do pinstriping or whatever, or as paint, but they did it like with boards. So it was textured because the boards were popping out at an angle, but also like slightly different colors. I don't know. It was just like, and this was their bathroom. And then somebody turned one of their like extra bedrooms into a huge walk-in closet. It had like some really nice like wood island with things that pulled out, and
Oh wow.
it's just incredible. And it's like, yeah, this was our spare bedroom. We just made into a huge walk-in. Like I was blown away. And I'm just seeing all this, thinking about like these people put this together, and I burned chicken in a pan last night. I don't understand. Like, it's just totally different worlds we live in.
People are getting crafty and creative during this time. Our dad has a part-time job at a box home improvement store. And like right when this started, they saw some of the best business they've ever seen. And then when people got those checks from Trumpy, like he's like, can't keep anything on the shelves. Like people are in here like crazy doing home improvement stuff. They're at home. They got time. They got a little extra money in their pockets. Yeah. It's impressive. Wow. Dylan's just trying to cook chicken.
The funny thing is, I'm not even a terrible cook, but that was just in my head that I screwed up the chicken as I'm watching this renaissance of home and garden, pour out in picture form. I swear some of these people just Googled awesome home remodels and were sharing it. There's no way all of these things were good.
Yeah. Dylan's only as good as his last meal.
Apparently that's my life.
Yes.
So anyways,
speaking of chicken, have you guys seen, and this is just maybe a quick gripe, the meme out there that I'm sure many of us can relate to, that like you're an adult now, congratulations, you get upset when they rearrange the grocery store. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Not only do I relate to that meme, because I have literally complained to my wife out loud and at length when our grocery store rearranged its shelves a couple times. And we've lived in the same place for, 6 years, and been going to the same Kroger this whole time. And I think twice they did like a whole like an entire shelf clearing, removing everything, which just chaps my whatever, it gets
Loins?
chaps no, scratch that. It does something else. I don't know.
Record scratch.
I don't know. I'm gonna hit a button and hope.
Not that one. It's all good.
Okay, cool. But anyway, so now during COVID, now mind you, I have not set foot into a store except for twice during COVID-19. Once was a trip to Meijer, like a month or two ago, a couple months ago, whatever it was. I talked about it on here with you guys when that happened. And then again, The first time was like right when COVID was starting, before things were shutting down. And masks were a bad idea still at that point. And so that's been it. All of the while, I know that our Kroger has not only been doing shelf resetting, but has remodeled the entire store. So like the very makeup of the shelves and the directions they were facing, and like building an internal beer cave and putting stuff in like entire sections of the store have just been blown up and put somewhere else. And so there's a big part of me that knows that COVID is gonna cease. I'm gonna go grocery shopping again, and I'm gonna be really pissed off when I do. And so I'm mad at Kroger right now, and I haven't even been in there yet. I just know what's coming.
So, you know what mess you up the most in there? It's the healthy section in small packages of snacks. It's the little stuff. Bakery's too big. You can't move the bakery.
Yep.
Like, people know where they move little stuff. They move like boxes of cookies and small bags of chips.
Yeah.
And the healthy section, and then the yogurt needed to move. I don't know why the yogurt needed to move. Put it near the milk. That doesn't make sense. Nope. It's its own middle aisle now. Why did the yogurt have to move? Put it next to the milk. It makes no sense. It's the little stuff.
Yep.
So Kendall, I know we don't shop at the same Kroger, but ours has been going through the same exact thing. They added probably a whole nother fifth to the store. So they built out into the road a whole other section.
Whoa. Yeah.
Not road, but where you went through to pick up your pharmacy. They just blew out one whole section of wall and added a Starbucks. And anyway, so not only has it completely changed, everything in the store has completely changed, but it's been going through incremental changes. So Sherry does all of our grocery shopping, and every time she goes back, it's different. They're not like, we're going to keep it this way, and then once it's done, it'll all be this way. They're like doing it in that, what's that puzzle where you'd have to move one piece to get that piece out and then move that piece out, like that.
I don't know. Those are the most annoying kinds of puzzles in the world.
Those little plastic ones that are,
that you got when you were a kid, and like
brain benders.
Yeah, a 36-year-old would struggle with it, but somehow they were free toys that the dentist gave out on Halloween.
Yes. And it was only like 9 pieces.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I can relate, or Sherry can relate. I don't do our grocery shopping. Thanks, Sherry. I love you. What else is new, fellas? What's going on in your worlds? Tell us about it. Middlers are dying to know.
All right.
I already complained about a couple things.
This is not a complaint, although we're good at those, but this is not that. So
we'll make it one.
So we very clearly, at this point, are not going to have at least a autumn Big Ten, Pac-12 football season, right? So like a couple other dominoes will probably fall, but they haven't yet. So I want to throw this out there from a gaming point of view. I had the idea to make a really big college football playoff for this season and play it out on PlayStation 3, the final EA Sports NCAA college football video game. If anyone is interested in following along from that, you need to chime in on social media. And the more interest there is from people that want photos, videos, maybe I can set up my phone and go Facebook Live and play some of the game or something.
Nice.
Share the whole tournament, or just share wins and losses. I would make a whole set of rules. I already have it done based on the preseason rankings. It's already drawn up with 32 teams. So I'm going to do it whether I'm the only one enjoying it or not. But if other people are interested and want to follow along throughout the season, I thought that it would be fun. And if anyone is interested, I'll share the tournament layout and everything and rules before I start playing.
I think figuring out a way to stream that would be awesome, just because I like the idea of, in lieu of watching actual college football this year, I want to wake up on Sunday morning and eat brats while I'm watching Dylan. That's what I want to see. Get that up on Twitch.
Maybe that's a whole new playlist on the YouTube channel. It's just a 45-minute long video recording of me playing the game with my commentary. And that'll be its own playlist. I need feedback on this, because if it's crickets after this episode launches and the week after, then I'm just going to do it myself and enjoy it for fun.
Come on, folks, interact with us. Come on, we want to see this happen.
I think it would be fun, and if nothing else, we can host. I don't ever have to mention it in an episode again, and we can host it, offline. But maybe it's short snippets. Maybe it's just I share photos and do updates of the tournament as it plays out. I don't know. I've already built the whole thing on the iPad, and I even did like custom graphics on it. It looks real good. I can, if people are interested, I can share.
Man, I'm super excited about it, and I know we never mention things and then never come back to them. So let's really make this happen, and you guys need to show Dylan some love and express your interest.
Oh man,
how do we feel about the college football season this year?
Look, Kirk Herbstreit called this like 4 months ago. The season
he did,
much to the chagrin of virtually everyone. And I almost right after he said it, I went, "Yeah, that makes sense." It's not, because I think the part of the conversation that people don't want to talk about, because fans all want the season. I want the season. I'm disappointed. If universities are willing to lose this much money and not have a season, and there's this much money on the line, they're clearly taking it very seriously. And I think there's a whole amateurism thing at play here, because if a university is willing to send these guys out on the field, but the university is doing online schooling, and you had some Pac-12 players trying to like form a quasi-union to play, I think there's just all kinds of stuff tied up in this. It is not as simple as just play it or not play it.
I've heard people talk about like that. The whole it's amateurism versus pro, and I've heard a lot of people say like they'd be surprised to see a lot of college football for that reason. They would also be surprised to see the NFL cancel anything for the opposite reasons. So I'm kind of with you. Like forget about what my opinions might or might not be about COVID and restrictions and that kind of thing. And none of it changes the fact that, there's not going to be college football, and I'm ticked off about that.
All fans are universally frustrated. I'm not saying I don't want football. What I'm saying is if a university can make that much money and they're choosing not to, there's clearly some very powerful things that move behind the scenes. And you've got parents that are up in arms and they're trying to get the season. And I get it. I don't want to not have a season. Like it's a bump. I think, and it's not that the kids aren't adults. They're all 18 or older. They're legally adults. But it's that whole amateurism thing at play when you're talking about if colleges are going to force kids to go travel, potentially get sick, and play because money's on the line, then they're going to have a better argument than they've ever had for pay to play, for some of the things we've discussed on the podcast, and ESPN hashes out over and over and over again. Like the argument's going to be there like, oh, clearly you want us to go play because Ohio State doesn't want to reportedly lose $130 million, in athletic revenue because they're not. Well, yeah. It's hard to send them out there to play and then tell them that they're just student athletes.
That's a great point, because you're exactly right. That narrative would happen, and it would happen very loudly.
Yes. And very quickly, they're going to lose the argument on these guys are just student athletes. So I think this play is like, well, you're students, we can't. And I think they're trying to fend off that whole pay to play, let me make money based off of my whatever. And it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like regardless of the decision that's made, there's going to be a lot of people upset. And so they just got to look at this with the university presidents and go, we're going to get into a huge mess if even one kid gets sick and something happens. This is going to be a huge mess for lawsuits and pay to play and unionizing and all.
And recruiting, right?
Oh yeah.
One of the big things that coaches always promise the parents is, hey, I'm going to be their father when they're here.
Yep.
Like I'm going to take care of your kid. So yeah, they're 18 and they're adults, but then like parents are having their kids play football at a certain place because a coach came in and shook their hands and said, don't worry, I'll take care of them.
Yeah. And you're going to instantly have people mad that I'm not pushing, that I'm not like, we should be playing, thinking that I don't want football. That is 100% not the case. I absolutely want football. And there are legitimate arguments on the other side. Like, some of these kids running around, goofing off with their friends are going to be way more at risk than being methodically checked on by strength and conditioning coaches and medical staff. And there's absolutely some legitimate arguments to sending these kids home. And some of their houses might not be as safe or whatever as they are on campus. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But if a school's willing to potentially lose that much money over a season, they have pretty strong reasons to do that. People don't just throw away that much money just because.
So Sherry and I had some friends over tonight, and the four of us were on the back patio, and Sherry and the other two were talking about sports. And so that I don't take her sports stories, because I'm very ignorant to all this, I haven't read up on all of it. Specific to the Big Ten, what I heard from them was how the Big Ten president has handled a lot of this. There being some discrepancy there. When he has a son playing in college, who he said, well, we had a long, hard discussion about it. And they're like, so he had a choice and you're taking away the choice for all these schools? And he said, well, we had a conversation with the athletic directors. There was a vote and a unanimous vote. And then those same athletic directors saying, we had a discussion. We never voted. And a lot of the ADs saying, we voted for a season. So
the ADs are the presidents. I guess I haven't read anything recently, but
yeah,
that's a president decision, not an AD decision.
Right. So then he went back to the presidents anyway. So I'm just gathering that specific to the Big Ten, there was a lot of how it was all done and how it all came out. And it's seeming one way when it was not that unanimous or not that obvious of a decision.
Yeah. Because
oh, go ahead, Kendall.
Well, for a while there was a lot of talk about Ohio State's AD was talking about how we're not going to shut the door on other options, and people around here were kind of getting fired up and excited about that, about switching conferences for a year or whatever else, and meanwhile, like, the realists in the room were like, it wasn't the AD's decision in the first place. It was the president's decision. The president said, we don't want Ohio State to play. The president did that. AD doesn't have a voice. Right? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that was my understanding of the whole thing.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about, that was one of those where if the presidents are already discussing it, the ADs need to kind of shut up. And I'm not being hard on anybody specifically, but like the stuff with the Big Ten commissioner, if there's extra drama around that story that I don't know, fine. But I was hearing that it was being made out to be a big deal just because his son was still allowed to play. But his son's in another conference. That's up to the president of those conferences. He can't tell, he's the Big Ten commissioner. If his son was allowed to play and was at a Big Ten school, then that's a different discussion. How is he allowed to do that?
Well, they're questioning the moral there. They're questioning so you think it's too dangerous for Big Ten kids to play, but you don't think it's too dangerous for your kid to play.
Yeah, that's up to his kid and up to those schools. Like, that to me is a non-story. I get people are mad, so they're looking for something to be mad about and somebody to point at. But that to me is a non-story. If he's at a school and he's an adult and his school says they're playing football, it's not up to the dad. That I understand he could try to tell his kid he's not allowed, but his kid's 18 and his school's playing football. That's a non-story.
Well, I'm just saying.
I get it, because people are frustrated, right? That's what I'm saying. People are frustrated.
There's a petition you can sign. Thanks.
No,
that's fine. If you want to sign a petition, go sign a petition. I'm saying that part of the story with the Big Ten commissioner, to me, is a non-story. The kid's an
I get it.
adult.
That's fine, but I'm just saying.
Just saying. So,
Just saying.
so guys.
I mean, I hear you're wrong. I hear your wrong opinion. I'm just saying.
I was just saying.
So if you are a Big Ten or Pac-12 fan, who do you root for this season, or do you just watch more NFL? ESPN did a great article that, again, Sherry told me about that we will share from our page. That sort of, it's kind of a comical, it treats it like a dating thing where it's like, we think you'll really like this team because you would have this in common, and it gives you a team that you could root for. What do you do if you're a Big Ten or Pac-12 fan?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do in just a second here. So to give you an idea of what this article does is it tries to line your school up with another school based on either merits or based on attitude. So for Illinois, it says about me. So about me as a fan of Illinois, it says trying to hang in there, catch someone by surprise. And then the matchmaker for a team that is playing this year, you should like South Carolina because they have a defensive-minded coach with a conservative offensive, blah, 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 blah. They tell you why South Carolina meets all those things. So for me in particular, my matchmaker pick was Texas. It says you both have won a lot. More than 900 victories each the past decade or so hasn't been so kind. But this might be your year. So, which for me, it's not going to be my year.
No. I think that question is interesting because I think it boils down to the kind of fan you are. There are fans who say they're fans and never actually watch anything. They're the ones that walk into the room at the party and go, "What's the score?" And they leave before that anyone has actually given them the score. And then there's the fans who are fans but really can only sit and enjoy their team. They're not going to watch the conference games. They're not going to watch extra bowl games. Then you've got kind of the conference fans. This is kind of a common jab at the SEC. Like, no other conference roots as hard for their conference as the SEC does, is the joke at least. Then you've got those people that they'll sit and watch like, oh, I'll watch all our conference games because I'm used to watching these teams over and over. And then there's the people like me that will sit and watch literally anything. It could be the GoDaddy Trash Bowl. And if there's two teams playing football, I don't care. I'd like to watch it. And I can pick a team to root for based on traditional series played in the past, what conference they're in, who's the underdog. I can pick based off of a variety of things just for fun, just because. And so I don't have to pick one. Although for Ohio State, it had Georgia. I didn't necessarily care for that one. I did think Rutgers was funny, if you still have that one pulled up.
Well, let me read the Ohio State one since we are recording live from Central Ohio. About me, you love dynamic quarterbacks, linebackers, and are not a fan of neighboring states. So your matchmaker's pick, Georgia. Why? You'll hit it off. You both wonder what might have been if quarterback Justin Fields got to take the field. Ohio State is the most recent team not named Clemson to end Alabama's season with a loss in the 2015 Sugar Bowl. You could give Georgia a little mojo in return for Fields. So go ahead, Dylan, read Rutgers.
So my favorite I saw of the Big Ten was Rutgers. About me, if I'm a Rutgers fan, just happy to be here. Matchmaker's pick, Alabama. And why you'll hit it off. Look, 151 years ago, you started college football. We love you for it. But it hasn't always been easy for you. So live a little this season. This one's on us.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh,
God,
awesome.
God bless the author of that article. That was great.
That's great.
That is a fun article.
Fun
So-
stuff.
And helpful. I think I'm gonna take it to heart. I'm
You gonna
be
go
a
Texas?
Texas fan. I'm gonna root for Texas because of that article. I've just now decided. See, so much like Dylan, I'll watch anything. I do figure out a reason to root for one team or the other to keep me in it, and I don't even need to do any research for it. I'll just like watch for like 5 minutes, and then the moment I see like a player do something that like ticks me off, I'll be like, all right, I want you to lose. That's it.
No.
And then that'll carry me through the whole game.
Yep.
Um,
And
yeah.
I haven't asked for the listeners as well. So we recently picked up 3 more countries as new countries that have streamed from the middle: Switzerland, Argentina, and Mexico. Now, I realize
How
that
did
we're
we not
talking
have
about
Mexico?
for you, for anyone listening outside of the U.S., we're talking about American football at a collegiate level or university level. But I need to hear from the international folks on what teams in football I should root for, in case that's the only thing that I get to watch in the next 12 months. Because I might not get football. So, just like we're trying to make
That's how they pronounce it. It's respectful.
football, we're trying to make our case for college football. And I would love to hear from any international listeners why I should root for your football team internationally. I don't care. I know there's like upper leagues and lower leagues, and you can graduate or get demoted. And I'd love to just make your case for any international football team, or as we like to call it, soccer. I would love to hear from you. Please chime in on all of our social channels. Leave us a voicemail, shoot us an email, because I might have to get into international sports here soon.
Indeed.
Things are that bad
Things
Things are getting that bad.
that I
Guys-
might get past my ignorance.
If they're talking about trying to play a Big Ten season in January, feels like baloney. I don't think there's any chance in the throes of normal flu season, when everyone's going to panic and not know what kind of flu they have. I don't think there's any chance that we're watching football in January, February, and March from the Big Ten. But I'm going to remain hopeful. And if somebody wants me to sign a petition and let the 18-year-olds put their lives on the line, fine. If they want to do that, God bless them. I can sign a petition if need be. That's what I got.
We've resorted to witnessing Fox trying to put digital fans into baseball games. That was just unwatchable. We've resorted to hearing about Lil Wayne blowing suspicious smoke as a virtual fan at an NBA game. Did you guys hear about that?
No.
So apparently there's this thing where people can virtually join a game, and I don't know if you pay money for this, or I don't know much about that whole process, but what the end product is they're able to so if you're on YouTube, we're over a video camera with each other. So pretend like my image, then they crop my image and put me in a seat
In the stands, yeah.
in the stands. And so I'm watching it live. Essentially, people can see me. Lil Wayne ducks off screen, comes back, smoke.
I think they should let fans pay to upload an image, and the team will print out a cardboard cutout and put them in a seat, so that when the cameras pan, you can see yourself as a cutout in the stadium.
I think that's happening.
Is it happening?
I think that's happening in baseball.
Wonderful. They should do that. Let them pay a few bucks, and the chance that and they can pan, run the commercial breaks, and show all the fan
Yeah.
cutouts in the seats. It would be fun.
I could be wrong, but I feel like I've seen that.
I've seen cutouts, but I didn't know if anyone had let fans pay to upload your own photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought something like that was going on, but I don't know.
Beautiful. If anyone knows, let us know.
Yeah, I did notice the cardboard cutout thing, and I think my favorite was behind home plate of some baseball game was Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's. Just like,
So it was actually him.
they brought him back.
They actually brought him and plopped him in there. He was mostly just skeleton at this point, but it was still good to see him.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Does that bring up a whole interesting marketing angle? Should they do at a baseball game the first 8 rows, and instead of doing cardboard cutouts of different people, they choose to do exclusively stormtroopers, hundreds of the exact same cutout. They don't even get separate ones, just to have fun with it. That feels like it could be a thing.
Yeah, it could be a thing. It's something that the Japanese are probably all over. I know that there are photos of them like putting giant stuffies in all the seats, which is pretty cool. They've probably done stormtroopers. You should look it up.
Probably.
It's fun. I love the ways we're getting creative during this time. So I wanted to fill you guys in a little bit on my my time on Norris Lake in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because that was an interesting experience. So I had never done the floating house thing before. And when I was telling a buddy about this, he later told me once I was back, he's like, I thought you just didn't know what a houseboat was and you kept calling it a floating house. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. He doesn't know what a houseboat is. No. This was like a 2-story floating house that was a very nice house by regular house standards. And it's just out in the middle of the lake. You have to take a boat to get out to it. And it was really cool. It was a really good time with extended family. And Sherry and the kids stayed home. They're not really lake people. Also, this was supposed to butt up right up against the first week of school, which is now this week. We're sending our kiddos back to the building. But anyway, so she didn't want them to be exhausted from a week lake vacation and then go right into school. Thought that would be unwise. So anyway, Sherry and the kids stayed home, but a lot of fun. My uncle's boat, our uncle's boat, turned some heads. It is a luxury pontoon boat with a 300 horsepower Suzuki motor on it, so it's enough to pull skiers. I think we talked about this in the pontoon boat episode.
We did, and when you posted pictures of that pontoon boat, it was not at all what I have ever seen or pictured in my head as a pontoon boat.
So let's just say that it's quite a mixed bag at the lake, and some people were like, wow, what's that thing get up to on the water? And with 8 of us in there, it was like 42 miles an hour on the water, which is a lot of fun. We had a couple jet skis that worked all of the first half day because they were not as nice, but we tried, and it was fun. Skiing, kneeboarding, cliff diving, time with cousins, good meals, good conversation, a lot of fun. Interestingly, Tennessee has now ruled out these floating houses. They're kind of an eyesore. Some of them have fallen into a state of disrepair and are a little run down and rednecky. So you can be grandfathered in, but you have to maintain it, or else 30 years and you have to get it off the water. So kind of interesting. But if you go to Norris Lake, I can give you the exact address of this one. It's a fun place to stay if you want to get a couple families together and try something like that. Like a redneck version of Venice, Italy, where you got to take boats to get to everything. There was a rowdy bachelor party going on in one of the houses near us. They were consuming things of all substance types. And that was interesting. But yeah, I really enjoyed the time, and had little to no cell phone service, which was a blessing and a curse because there's some stuff going on at work, which we'll save for another episode. But anyway, yeah, good time. Trying to think of anything else interesting about that. It was good.
Have you decided to be my friend with a boat yet?
Still thinking about it, actually. Done even more research on a trailer and getting a hitch on our primary family vehicle. Don't know that I want to burn up the tranny with hauling a 20-foot pontoon boat. Is that what it is? A tranny?
Yeah, no, you could ruin a transmission by going over your towing capacity for sure.
Apparently, our minivan has.
That's how you say minivan properly. Yes.
Yeah. It requires a certain ATF cooler. I don't even know what that means, but it basically I understand that it makes your vehicle more equipped to pull heavier loads.
Okay.
So there's more investment than just throwing a hitch on there. But I don't know. I've not ruled it out. I think Sherry has though. Speaking of outdoor stuff, so our good friend Steve from Lifeline Survival,
Yeah.
who we've talked about. He has now shared, so I can share. His real name is Kevin. Kevin gave me a call the other day, and we talked for like an hour, and it was really cool to catch up with him. And I told him how much I'm loving the channel, and we had a great chat. But at that point, he was kind of having a down day. Just it's not an easy circumstance to live through. And you guys, I'm like 2 seconds away from getting in the car and going and hanging out with him for 2 days, just to let him know he's cared about, and hang out with him and camp out and buy him a nice dinner. And so if anybody wants to go with me, I'm seriously considering driving north to go hang out with Kevin.
Yeah.
over-
So I've been keeping tabs on his channel as well,
Yeah.
and kind of to the point that you just said, like, obviously there's no shortage of actual fundamental needs that somebody in that situation has, but so I don't want to sound naive, although I am. But there was one episode in particular that kind of got to me is one where like he's sitting around at night, and it was like he meets this group of friends for the first time,
Yeah.
and they're just hanging out together, and man, he was like, they were sharing stories, and like he had this smile on his face that that just spoke volumes to the whole situation, that like, yes, there's these obvious needs, right, that need to take care of so that the guy can breathe, right? But and so like I would think about those, but I didn't, in watching all of the episodes leading up to that, like I didn't think to myself, I was worried about all of those things for him, and I did not think about the fact that, man, this guy doesn't have anyone in person. Like he's spending his time alone figuring out all of this stuff. And yeah, when he got to hang out with people, I was like, that like made my day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And you can tell it made his. But yeah, his channel's been fascinating to watch, and I know some of our listeners have asked us to share the channel, which we have, and we can again. But I know he watches us and Joe Rogan, so we're in good company there when he's in his hammock at night. So Kevin, hugs from Ohio, and yeah, I'm about 2 seconds away from just hopping in a car. I just want to hang out with you, man. So anyway, speaking of alone, and I know he'll laugh at that. Speaking of alone, season 7 just wrapped up, and you guys, I think this is one of my top favorite shows on TV of all time. And the minute that the season ends, I'm ready for the next season. It's so much fun to watch, and I know I talked about it already. They tried something different this season. So normally it's just the last person standing, however many days that happens to be. But this time they're in the Arctic Circle, and it's whoever makes it to 100 days gets double what the prize money normally is, which is $500,000. Whoever makes it 100 days gets $1 million. And so in theory, there could have been 10 winners, but there was just one, and it was a great season, and I'm such a fan. And yeah, if you like the outdoors at all, or survival shows that are authentic, you should check out Alone season 7. Or season 6 is on Netflix right now if you want to watch one. Anyway, great show. The kids love it. Sherry loves it.
I've been looking for something to get into again.
Yeah.
On the old idiot box.
On the old idiot box. So
once I get it finally installed and wires run behind the wall. On the accent wall.
With how much you love researching products and your everyday carry, you would appreciate the thought that goes into them choosing their 10 items that they get to take with them. It's fascinating, and everybody's strategy is different. And yeah, I called the winner of this season pretty early in the season. You could just tell that mentally he was dialed in and preparing for this to be a long time. But yeah, he was ready to go the distance. Great show. Anyway, those are some of my updates.
We might finally have to check it out. We're finishing up a series, and that might be.
What are you finishing up?
I had only ever watched season 1 of The Crown.
Yes.
And so we're almost done with season 3 of The Crown now. My wife and I are watching together. So, but we had done several shows like Gordon Ramsay Uncharted on Disney Plus. We had done another, it was Zac Efron and another guy on Netflix. Some nature, they're out in nature. They're different. They're all different. So like Zac Efron's show, and I can't think of the name, but it's probably at the top of everyone's Netflix thing.
Yeah.
Theirs. That one was different because they're traveling to learn about like what different parts of the world are doing, to sort of push back against the ways that we sort of take advantage of the planet. Gordon Ramsay's is like, I'm traveling to find weird food that I can cook, and see how much I can learn about local cuisine and local ingredients. They're just really different shows. I actually didn't, the Zac Efron and
Down to earth.
Down to earth with, Zac Efron and his buddy. Any two people could have stepped into the host roles in that one for me and would have been fine. Gordon Ramsay's just a unique character, whether you like him or not. And I like cooking shows. So it's him traveling. But I'll give him credit because people put him in positions where he's got to find these really unique ingredients or things. And like, he does it. Like, he goes to Alaska and has to like climb a rock face to get up onto this thing to find a plant. And he does the same thing in like South America, and he has to like scuba dive to find these certain things in like the water off New Zealand. Like, he's in the thick of it and doing everything he can to get to these weird ingredients. But yeah, so we kind of rotate in like drama with some like cooking or travel, or some of those kind of shows are fun.
Right on.
Speaking of Disney Plus, our dinner guests tonight are still shocked that I haven't seen Hamilton.
It's fine. You
Like,
don't have to
really,
watch
with
it.
how much you love musicals, I'm shocked that you haven't watched this yet.
I love that that's the beginning of the phrase to you. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just because it was almost a universally loved thing and everyone should watch it. It's that they're like, really? You? With how much you like musicals? There's nothing? I told you, if you're not going to watch it, and other people might vehemently disagree with me, but if you're not going to watch it, tell me. And if nothing else, you need to watch Jonathan Groff as King George. In my opinion, I think that the whole musical is great.
I'm going to watch it.
But if you want like a funny thing and a really funny, entertaining, quick thing you can watch, it's Jonathan Groff as King George. Knowing you would appreciate that.
No, I'm going to
I just want to piss off a lot of people real quick and just say again that I do like musicals, and I started watching Hamilton, couldn't get into it. I watched about 10 minutes and I was done.
It's okay. Not everyone has taste. It's fine.
And I like musicals. I like hip hop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was just yeah.
No,
I am willing to admit that I fully recognize this even from a live music standpoint, that there are some performances that are just so much better live, and you would have no idea how good it was if you tried to listen to it just simply recorded. So I'm willing to admit that, like, if they go on tour and they come around, I'm available. I might want to go see it, but so it's not. I'm not going to say Hamilton's bad, but I'm going to say that it's possible that for me, watching it on video wasn't the right experience.
Hey, we're just saying.
Just saying.
We're just saying.
And I was in the middle of some of those reactions, in that I couldn't just listen to it. So when people only had the soundtrack before it hit Disney Plus, I couldn't get into just the soundtrack by itself.
Yeah.
Even as a history guy, I had to see it, and we were able to kind of turn it up on the home theater and watch it when our daughter was sleeping and really pay attention. And I thought it was great, but I couldn't get into just the music by itself. And so I think there's levels of that, and you might be to one end of it where you've got to actually see it. And I get that. I mean, there's some things you have to experience.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something about I don't want to experience?
please.
Yeah.
So when we moved into our house, we said we were never going to live in the suburbs. We ended up moving into the suburbs because the backyard makes you feel like you're in the country. There are very aged trees on either side of the property, and our backyard butts up to a large field where there's a fire ring back there. There's very, very tall willow trees in the back. Like, it feels like you're in the country until the last week or so when they started moving some earth. And now 36 patio homes are going to go in the field behind my house. So close that the back wall of these patio homes, if I'm looking at the plans correctly, will be 10 yards from my back gate. The back wall of their house will be that close to our house.
So plant the trees now in the back, because you still have a big yard. You still have a pretty long yard, right?
Yeah.
Plant trees along that fence line, man. Get
So
rid of them.
one of our neighbors, who you know, Kendall, Annie, she's in tight with some people in the town, and
Yeah.
she said they better make sure that there are some privacy trees, some arborvitaes, or some tall evergreens to act as a visual barrier.
Dude, those make all the difference in the world. We live in a suburb situation where our backyard we're maybe, I don't know, 50 yards away from the house behind us, and there's like a couple lines of trees that kind of like separate those two rows of homes. You would have no idea there was another house back there. It works remarkably well, and it doesn't feel like there's another house back there. You don't know they're there.
Yeah.
They're
going to want the privacy from us just as much as we're going to want it from them. We got a tacky above ground pool in the backyard.
Right. Yeah. You're the people with the tacky above ground pool and the pontoon boat that never leaves the backyard.
So yeah, I am told that it's in writing that there will be evergreen trees and shrubs, and it's in the plans, the aerial view plans. But yeah, so they got big pans and bulldozers back there that start every day at 7 a.m. Ka-kunk, 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 ka-kunk. So that's been an adventure. The dust that it kicks up cakes everything in our backyard, including my pool cover. But it's been an adventure. So kind of the demographic for these homes is like 55 and older, people that are probably snowbirds. They're all single story patio homes. They have a little concrete patio on the back, and then no yard because they don't want any yard to take care of.
Yeah.
So if they truly are snowbirds, you figure these things are going to be empty 3-4 months out of the year. While we're in the middle of our winter. But yeah, it's we had some really, really tall trees back there already, and they cut them all out. Not in our yard, obviously, just on the other side. They cut them all out because they were near like a water trench, ditch, spillway thing. Anyway, it's completely changed the landscape of our backyard. And for a half second, we went, is it time to start looking at property?
Yeah.
So that's the adventure on the Hubble homestead. Sunbury Hubble homestead.
I'd say give it time, just because, like I said, the tree thing, if they follow through with that, is
if they don't
is very helpful.
If they don't go through with that, I think what I could do is rig up some like floodlights, and every day at like 9 p.m. I just just pull a big lever that turns on these floodlights and passive aggressively force them to do something. I'm just turning on lights. I'm just trying to
the security lights from my yard. Just want to make sure you're not stealing anything. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing.
By the way, these single-story patio homes starting at like $350.
Say what?
Yeah. So at least there's not going to be any riffraff.
Man, taking advantage of the senior citizens.
Man, and guess what? There's a retirement home right next door. So it's basically like start your life in the neighborhood, move to the patio homes,
roll them right over.
Roll them right over to the retirement community.
Literally.
Across the street is a cemetery. We got it covered.
Good Lord. Probably. And there, by the way, anyone listening from either coast, $350 is expensive here. They're going,
As in
Ohio.
Can I get one?
As in the house with the half acre isn't worth what these single story patio homes are.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what's going on in our neck of the woods.
Mm. Hey, you know what I tried today? I had today. My wife went to IKEA because, our house is changing.
Mm-hmm.
And she came back with something that sounded interesting to her. A little bag of potato chips from IKEA that were pickled mushroom flavor.
And how were they?
So when she told me, I puked.
Like literally, or
Yeah. No, well, I mean, I'm going to say literally because it's funnier for the podcast if I did.
okay.
But so I was not in the mood to try something new. It was still, I don't know. My stomach wasn't feeling quite right yet after hearing those words put together. And but later in the day, she opened them up and she didn't like them all that much. She admitted that they weren't all that bad. I tried one. Fantastic.
See, like I
Fantastic.
think I'm down with a dried mushroom. I love mushrooms, but I wondered how the pickling makes them taste.
I have no idea. Like, I would not have called them that. If I were coming up with that artificial flavor, I wouldn't. Pickled mushroom would not have come to mind. So if they actually tasted like pickled mushroom, I probably would have thrown it away.
Well,
But
next time I'm at IKEA,
it
for
tasted
some meatballs.
like stroganoff.
Oh, I love me some stroganoff.
So stroganoff potato chips is exactly what they tasted like. And that's what they should call it. They would probably sell so many more here in the States. Apparently, they pickle mushrooms all the time in Sweden, often enough that they're making potato chips of that flavor. But I'm telling you right now, Swedes, bring that stuff over here. Just change the word to stroganoff. And I would have bought all of them by now.
We have listeners in Sweden, right?
We
Yeah.
do. We
Yeah.
do.
So the next time I'm at IKEA for some meatballs and some Flugenflagens, I'll pick up some pickled mushroom chips.
Yeah.
It should be called stroganoff
I'll
chips.
take one. Thank you.
Just to try it. I'll try anything once.
I tried twice.
A lady.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This has been a great catch up with you guys. Do you feel like we've
Fantastic.
missed anything glaring? Anything we want to share with our listener base?
We got that's all they get for free on this side of the paywall.
Yeah. Exciting things happening here at From the Middle. Can't wait to share. We're just buttoning up a few things and dotting some I's and crossing some T's.
Literally.
As soon as we can let you know, we'll fill you in on all the goings on here at From the Middle. Exciting new opportunities and things we want to share with you. Again, thank you to Jeff Piles who joined us last week. If you want to buy yourself some products over at Artius, man, be sure to use the promo code The Middle and get yourself 25% off your first order. That's www.artiusman.com. Thank you so much to my co-hosts Kendall and Dylan, and as well as the guy hanging from the microphone there, Daniel Bryan. Super appreciate everybody's time. I can't do it anymore. Somebody else finish.
Did you think you needed to spell out www and then not Artius Man?
www.artiusman.com.
Yeah.
ARTIUSMAN
There it is. There it is.
dot COM.
And even if you don't have a beard, and even if you aren't a man,
You can smell good in different ways.
there's all kind of good stuff.
But I'm telling you, if you do have a beard and you have not tried the beard oil thing, first of all, that's why it itches. Get some beard oil. Second of all, there is no smell that sticks with you personally more than a beard oil because it is right there underneath those holes that you call nostrils.
And I would try the restoration. That's the most popular scent.
It will change the way you feel about yourself. It'll change the way you feel about your beard. It'll change the way your significant other feels about your beard.
And it'll change the taste of your pickled mushroom chips. This has been From the Middle. Have a good week, everybody.